Hello students, in today's class I will explain one more example of law of conservation of momentum. In last class I explained some examples like this explosion and then recoil speed of gun. So today one more interesting concept that is called rocket propulsion. So here, consider a rocket, and initially it is filled with fuel, right? Then that mass of the fuel and this mass of the rocket, that is one system. So initially let us say m0 is the initial mass of rocket. Then what happens? The engine or this rocket to expel the gases, it will apply thrust or force on the gases. So the gas will eject out. So the same force this gas also will apply on the rocket, hence it will move upward direction. That is nothing but thrust applied on the gases, and that gas also will apply thrust on the rocket, nothing but force. Here what you have to consider, the mass is ejecting per unit time, right? So the fuel is burning, gas is coming out, means definitely the mass is ejecting, a variable mass system. So mass is varying with time. I will consider that mass ejecting per unit time as dm by dt. This is mass ejecting per unit time. Rate of change of mass also you can consider. Minus sign indicates it is decreasing. And also you have to remember that this gas will come out with some speed. So that speed we will consider it as V relative. The gas will come out with some speed. That speed is V relative. V relative means this is defined as relative velocity of gases, or a relative velocity of gas with respect to rocket. And remember, throughout the motion of the rocket we will consider the mass ejecting per unit time, this dm by dt, it is ejecting, we will consider as it is ejecting with constant rate. That means, for example, 0.1 kg per second, constantly it is ejecting the mass. And this V relative also we will consider as constant. V relative means velocity of the gases with respect to the rocket. And how to define this velocity of V relative means, so V relative we can write it as velocity of gases minus velocity of rocket. So to understand this you have to watch the videos of motion in a straight line and motion in a plane. There you have to watch relative velocity concept. Relative velocity means when the body, that means velocity of one body with respect to another body. When two bodies are moving in a straight line, thus we can define the relative velocity of one body with respect to another body, and always we can able to represent like this: velocity of A body minus velocity of B body. Here velocity of gases minus velocity of rocket. So this is about some consideration, and m0 is the initial mass. So you can consider when time t is equal to 0, this is the initial mass. Then what happens? The rocket is moving some speed, and the mass is ejecting, mass is decreasing means it acceleration will increases in upward direction. Then at any time interval t, what is the mass means, that is mass as a function of time. What is the mass means, we can write initially mass is m naught, then per second how much it is, per unit time how much it is decreasing, m naught minus dm by dt into t. Okay, at any instant of time, that means initially time t is equal to 0, its initial mass of the system is m naught. Then fuel is burning, the mass is decreasing after some time, at that instant, at this instant t, what is the mass in that rocket means, you can consider m naught minus dm by dt into t. This is the mass. Then here we will find the expression for velocity and force, thrust force acting on the rocket. For that, here according to second law of Newton's second law of motion, F external is equals to, or just magnitude wise I will write dp divided by dt. F external is equals to dp by dt. Then F external dmv by dt. Right, P means nothing but momentum. Here mass is not constant, right? Variable mass system. Always remember, wherever this variable mass system will comes, there what you have to do, how to write this expression means m dv by dt plus v dm by dt. So in this way, first you have to consider mass as constant and you have to differentiate velocity dv by dt. Next time you have to take v outside, we have to consider v constant and you have to differentiate dm by dt. I hope you are watching the differentiation videos in maths class, so there you will understand this differentiation and the rules, that is product rule and chain rule. Okay, so watch those videos to understand the concept of differentiation. And then remember here, if variable mass system means always you can write the formula like m dv by dt plus v dm by dt. Then here this velocity, here we will consider it as v relative. So I defined there what is the v relative. So this is v relative velocity in the expression, and it is nothing but velocity of gases with respect to rocket. Then next what you have to consider means assume or neglect gravity. Okay, assume a gravity free region in space. Gravity free region means definitely what is the net external force acting on the system. So if there is no gravitational force means definitely the net external force acting on the system, we are neglecting the gravity, hence the net external force acting on the system becomes 0. This equals m dv by dt plus v relative dm by dt. Then this expression becomes dm dv by dt is equals to minus v relative dm by dt. Then in the next step I will write dv is equals to minus v relative dm divided by dt. So here dt it will get cancelled, and m I will take here, dt will get cancelled, m I will take here, then the expression become dv equals minus v relative dm divided by m. Okay, So this is what the instantaneous velocity of the rocket. That means at that instant of time when the mass is m, this mass we can able to get from that expression m naught minus dm by dt into t. After this, I hope you understood up to this step. Here I hope you understood how to write this expression also. First time m you have to consider constant, then next time v you have to consider constant when mass is variable. Okay, and then if you want to find the velocity of rocket over a time interval, okay, from time t is equal to 0 to up to the time t, in that case what we have to do, remember in this case over a time interval we have to find the velocity, then we have to apply integration. So this integration is also a new concept to you. So how to write that integration system symbol means we have to do integration on both sides, means this is the integration. Integration means summation, adding. Okay, integration of dv, and here we can apply limits. This limit is called lower limit. Lower limit means when time t is equal to 0, let us take its velocity is v naught, initial velocity, right? So this equals minus v relative. This we have considered as a constant, right, throughout the motion. So keep outside integration of dm by m. When time t is equal to 0, its velocity is v naught. In that time the mass is m naught. This is called lower limits. Then up to what time we have to find the velocity, means up to t time. When time is t, let us say its velocity is v. It is increasing, right? The velocity is increasing. Its velocity become v. Then in that time what is the mass means, let us say that mass is m. Okay, so listen how to write the limits. This is called lower limit and this is called upper limit. So we want to find the velocity over a time interval when time is equal to 0 to time interval t. When time is 0, its velocity is v naught. When time interval becomes t, its velocity become v. Up to here we have to find the velocity, total velocity. So at that time, initially when velocity is 0, its mass is, that means v naught, its mass is m naught, initial mass. When velocity reaches to v, its mass become m. And this is the symbol of integration. And next, so after integrating, this symbol will go off. That means we need not to show this symbol. Then how to write means integration of dv always becomes v. Okay, after integrating dv becomes v. Then this lower limit I have to write like this. This is the upper limit v. This equals minus v relative, and here this integration dm by m, that will becomes log base m, and lower limit is m naught, upper limit is m. Then after upper limit, first you have to write in the place of v. In the place of v, if you write v, it will become v only. Next lower limit you have to subtract with upper limit. First upper limit minus lower limit. So this integration is over. Always remember upper limit minus lower limit. This equals minus v relative here log base e, first upper limit in the place of m, it will become m log e base log e m. Next subtracting with lower limit, then it will become log base e m naught. Then v minus v naught is equals to minus v relative log e, log a minus log b, you can write it as log m by m naught, okay, base E here, and v minus v naught is equals to, you can write like this, v relative log m naught by m. Okay, if you write m naught by m means then that minus and minus will get cancelled. Okay, so this is the expression, and also you can write it as finally v is equals to v naught is equals to v naught plus v relative log base E m naught by m. This is the final expression to find out the velocity. So at the time t means in the place of m, at the time t the mass become m naught minus dm by dt into t. So here this derivation will not ask for PU exam, remember this is for competitive exams. So you feel some difficulty to understand. Why? Because it includes differentiation and it includes integration. Okay, and those concepts you will study in mathematics. Right now the differentiation class is going on, so you have to watch the videos of limits and derivatives and differentiation. Then you can understand this is all mathematics steps only, right? So you can understand these steps. After that, from here, okay, from here we need to apply integration. Okay, that is also a new concept to you. So up to here you understand by watching differentiation video. From there you just note down these points and note down the final equation, velocity of a rocket. Okay, then later last class also I said we will explain the integration concepts, then you can able to understand these steps. Okay, now you feel difficulty. Why? Because you don't know what is integration, right? As a notes you write down these points and remember that final velocity, this is the expression. So these are formulas, that is integration of dm by m or dx by x. Directly we can write dx by x as log x, dm by m as log m, dv by v as log v. In later classes, in physics only, some integration concept we will explain. So that is we got the expression for velocity. Then thrust. What is the thrust acting on the rocket or thrust acting on the gases? That magnitude formula you write down. That is F is equals to, again dp by dt, p means m into v, that we have considered as a relative velocity, v relative dm divided by dt. So this is the thrust acting on the, in the magnitude wise, thrust acting on the rocket. So remember this formula, and this expression we have neglected gravity. So, and one more formula, remember, net force acting on the rocket. Net force acting on the rocket means the rocket is moving upward because of the thrust applied by the gases, isn't it? That the thrust force is acting upward direction, weight of the rocket is acting downward direction. The net force become F minus weight of the rocket, that is W, nothing but we can write it as M into G. Then this is F thrust. F net is equals to, F thrust means V relative dm by dt minus m into g. This F net also you can write it as m into a. Then net acceleration expression becomes v relative dm by dt minus m into g. Here m we shifted right this side, right? V relative by m. This m by m will get cancelled. Then this is the net acceleration of the rocket. Remember these formulas. This is useful only for competitive exams. So I explained examples of law of conservation of momentum, that is the recoil speed of gun. Then concepts about explosion, and next this rocket propulsion. So you have to remember this formula and these two formulas and this one. And next write as a note, you have studied law of conservation of momentum, that means isolated system or net force acting on a system is zero, then total momentum is conserved, right? So write as note. So what Newton's second law will states, net external force is equals to dp divided by dt. Then if net external force is zero, then dp by dt also equal to zero, isn't it? That means rate of change of momentum is zero. Rate of change of momentum is zero means p remains constant. In previous classes also I explained this one. If p remains constant, m is also constant, means v is also constant. So this indicates what? On a body, net external force is zero means either the body is at rest or it is moving with constant velocity. So first law of motion, isn't it? That first law of motion is contained in second law. And also you know that law of conservation of linear momentum, in that this is m1 mass moving with u1 speed, this is m2 mass moving with u2 speed before collision, and during collision m1 and m2. So this is the F21 force, that means force on second by 1. Similarly this is what? F12 force, that is force on 1 by second. So this body also experiences an impulse, this body also experiences an impulse. In what time interval? Means delta t time interval. Finally this m1 mass will move with v1 speed, and this m2 mass will move with v2 speed, isn't it? Then next what you have written means F1 delta t, F1 to delta t, impulse experienced by mass m1, that is equals to m1 v1 minus m1, here m1 u1 minus m1 v1, sorry, here final velocity, right? m1 v1 minus m1 u1. This is what? Change in momentum. So that I can able to write it as delta p1 also. Delta p1 is nothing but change in momentum. You written f12 is equals to change in momentum, that is equals to m1 v1 minus m1 u1. So similarly you see F21 delta t, this is what? Impulse experienced by second body. So here what you have written? Change in momentum is equal to, the change in momentum is what? Second body m2, its final speed v2 minus m2 u2, its initial speed. This is F21 into delta t. This is equals to delta P2 I can write. Then finally we proved that total momentum before collision is equal to total momentum after collision. Then here you see I can able to write this expression delta P1 F12 delta T. Observe carefully. This delta P1 by delta T. If you bring that T this side, this is equals to F12 force. And next, observe carefully here also, delta P2 by delta T is nothing but F21 force. Right. Then what is the total rate of change of momentum? I can able to write the total rate of change of momentum is equals to delta P1 by T, delta P1 by delta T for first body rate of change of momentum, plus delta P2 by delta T. This is the rate of change of momentum for second body. Rate of change of momentum is nothing but F external force according to Newton's second law, isn't it? So if F external force is 0, again rate of change of momentum is also 0. If this is 0, this rate of change of momentum also becomes 0. Then delta P1 by delta T, I can write it as F12 plus delta P2 by delta T, I can write it as F21. Since here I can able to write it as F12 is equals to minus F21. This is what? Newton's third law of motion. So this F external is equals to delta P by delta T is what? Newton's second law of motion. That means that Newton's second law includes Newton's first law also. Newton's second law includes Newton's third law also. Newton's third law, what it states? Every action there is a equal and opposite reaction. Okay, and also forces acts on two different bodies simultaneously, isn't it? That means Newton's second law includes first law also, and we can able to prove that Newton's second law includes the third law also. Hence Newton's second law we can call it as real law of motion. Remember this point. So I hope you understood these Newton's laws of motion. And write down the heading Attwood's machine. So George Attwood, a scientist, an English scientist, a mathematician. So he introduced a machine that is called an Attwood's machine. It consists of a string. You have to remember, string means in this string it is a massless and inextensible. So in problems usually they will give light string, that is nothing but massless. So practically it is not possible. Light string means you have to consider as massless string and inextensible string that will not extend. Such type of string you have to consider. So by considering that, you have to remember that throughout the string the tension remains same. And then this Attwood's machine consists of string and pulleys. So here you can imagine this diagram. Okay, this is a pulley and it is suspended, attached to the roof. On this pulley, this is the string, or let us consider thread. Okay, inextensible, massless. Then one string is here means throughout the string the tension remains same, and for this string we can attach a mass, a blocks. This block, let us take it as mass m1, this block let us take it as mass m2. This type of a system is called as Attwood's machine. It is quite useful to find the acceleration of gravity. And so you came to know how to represent the tension forces. That is very important. So in the string, due to its weight, the tension is in this direction, right? Like this we can able to represent the tension forces. So this is what it is represented by T, and consider this mass m1 is greater than mass m2. m1 is greater than m2 means definitely the mass m1 will move downward and the mass m2 will move upward with some acceleration, and also both will move with same acceleration. Why? Because if how much distance this mass will comes down, definitely this mass has to go up in that same time. Hence the acceleration of the system is, let us consider it as A. So what type of questions they will ask based on this Attwood's machine means we need to find the tension forces in the string, and we need to find the acceleration of a system. So I'll explain now how to find these tension forces and acceleration of a system. So this system is nothing but an Attwood's machine. It consists of pulley, string and blocks. So see here, while solving problem, you have to draw the free body diagram. First, I will consider system as the block M1. You have to free that block from other bodies, from surroundings. That is first step, right, in writing free body diagram. Then you have to identify the various external forces acting on this body. So definitely due to its weight, mg, remember mg always acts, mg the direction is always acts vertically downwards. Okay, this is the mg force acting downwards, weight. Then here on this block, the tension force acting upwards, T. These are the two forces acting on the block. This is the free body diagram of block M1. Similarly, I will draw the free body diagram for block M2. So I have to consider that block M2. Again, we have to identify forces acting on the block. Here M2G is acting downward and tension force is acting upward. So single string means the tension is same throughout the string. So first step is over. We have drawn the free body diagram. Next, we have to apply Newton's second law motion equation, that is here this is moving downward, right? Acceleration is downward. See here, block M is moving downward and this block M2 is moving with the same acceleration upwards. So the system is not moving means we can directly write T is equals to M1G. But the system is moving downward, right? Then the net force is acting on the system. How to write that means it is moving downward, M1G is greater minus T. M1G minus T, this is equals to F net force. F net force means I can able to write it as F net is nothing but M1 into A. So I written an equation for first block. And see in the second block, it is moving upward. Then now you cannot write m2g minus t. So this is greater, right? It is moving upward means t minus m2g. T minus m2g. This is equals to net force m2 into A. Okay, this is the second equation. Then you have to solve these two equations simultaneously, or you can write m1g minus t is equals to m1a F net force and t minus m2g is equals to m2a F net force. So let us take this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. Solving equation 1 and 2 simultaneously, what you will get means, I will write there t minus m2g. T minus m2g is equals to m2a. And here I will write minus t plus m1g, minus t plus m1g is equals to m1a. And here you see plus t and minus t will get cancel. Plus t and minus t will get cancel means, and next I can able to write here g. If I take common outside, this will become m1 minus m2. m1 minus m2. This side you will get m1 plus m2 into a, isn't it? Then the acceleration of a system, a is equals to g into m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2. This is the acceleration of a system, remember. Then to find the tension in the string, to find the tension forces, here I will write. So out of two equation, any one equation you can take. So I will take this one, t minus m2g is equals to m2a is there. Then I will write t is equals to m2 g plus a. Okay, t equals m2. If you bring this side means, if I take m2 common outside, g plus a. Then t is equals to m2 g plus the value of a, g into m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2. And next t is equals to m2g, g also I will take common outside, here m1 plus m2 plus m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2, and plus m2 minus m2 will get cancelled. Then tension becomes m1 plus m1 2m1, 2m1 into m2, that is 2m1 into m2 into g divided by m1 plus m2. So this is what the tension in the string. Okay. So like this we can able to find the acceleration of a system and tension developed in the string. Then what questions they will ask means, they will ask force on the pulley. Okay, force on the pulley. So this is what the pulley, and here there is another thread or rope you consider. In that force or tension is acting in this direction. then these strings are passing over that pulley, and there the tension I can able to represent like this. This is the tension force. And if you observe the diagram carefully, this is not moving, this system is not moving, only blocks are moving. Then here this F force is balancing these tension forces, and I can able to write F is equals to 2T. This is at equilibrium. F is equals to 2T, and F is equals to 2 into what is the tension force we got? M1 M2 into G, 2 into 2 M1 into M2 G divided by M1 plus M2, and finally I can able to write that force on the pulley F is equals to 4 M1 M2 into G divided by M1 plus M2. So remember these formulas. So this is the method to find acceleration, tension and force on the pulley. Okay, I hope you understood this concept. So in question how they will give means directly they will give 4 kg mass, 2 kg mass, find the acceleration and tension developed in the string. So like this you have to write the equations, you have to solve, finally you have to get the answer. These type of question especially they will ask in competitive exams. Thank you.